grin right at you while quietly plotting your downfall. Not out of necessity, out of choice. Betrayal in this world isn't random, it's calculated. People will observe you closely, copy your warmth, echo your drive, all just to get within striking distance. And once they've taken everything they came for, they either disappear or use you as a launchpad for their next move. You know the feeling. That gut punch when someone you trusted turned your own loyalty into a weapon against you. That eerie quiet when people you once protected suddenly leave you exposed. That's not misfortune. That's simply how things are. Most people weren't wired to elevate others. They're wired to compete, to grab, to get ahead by any means. They won't all come at you head on. Some will cheer while you're suffering. Others will treat your struggle like a show. And the second you crack and reveal a weak spot, they'll flag you as easy prey. If you believe being pure of heart will shield you, think again. This world doesn't honor purity, it studies it, twists it, and cashes in on it. You were raised to be polite, while the world quietly trains its victors to be calculated. You were told honesty is a virtue, but virtue without leverage is a trapdoor. You were told to forgive freely, but forgiveness with no limits just invites the same wound twice. This isn't a video about fighting fair. It's about fighting smart. It's about understanding how influence actually functions, and why the people who climb highest aren't necessarily the most gifted or the most righteous. They're the ones who see the game running underneath everything else. Which brings us to Machiavelli. His words weren't crafted to soothe you. They were forged for survival for anyone navigating a world where people deceive with a grin and destroy with charisma. If you want to make it through that world, if you want to rise above it, being good simply isn't enough. You need to be alert, composed, tactical, and unbreakable. Today I'm laying out 7 Machiavellian lessons designed to toughen your mindset and sharpen your reflexes. Think of these as psychological tools, instruments of survival. They'll unsettle the fragile and energize the ready. If you've ever been deceived, used, or overlooked, this is your breaking point. Because once these ideas take root in you, you won't just become harder to wound, you'll become impossible to manipulate. Let's dive in. Lesson 1. Guard your image like a fortress. Appearance beats reality almost every time. Machiavelli put it plainly, everyone sees what you seem to be, but almost no one truly knows what you are. That wasn't a caution. That was a blueprint. In this world, how you're perceived carries more weight than who you actually are. Most people never dig past the surface, and even when they try, they only see what confirms what they already believe. That's exactly why your image needs to be built with intention, like a piece of armor. Not to trick people, but to shield yourself. You could be brilliant, capable, and formidable, but if you present as ordinary, people will treat you as disposable. And that's the moment they attack. Your image isn't just for show. It's your disguise, your shield, your smokescreen. Once people think they've got you figured out, they stop paying close attention. And that's your opening to move. Stop revealing your whole strategy. In chess, you never announce your plan out loud, you lure. You misdirect. You spring the trap. Your outward persona should be a story you're writing on purpose, a diversion, a wall between your real self and their assumptions. The less visible your true self is, the harder you become to touch. Stop justifying yourself. Every explanation you give is a crack in your defenses. The instant you start explaining your choices to people who don't deserve that access, you're handing them a map into your head. Let them speculate. Let them talk. Their chatter is your cover story. Never plead to be understood. This world doesn't reward raw truth, it rewards illusion. So craft yours with precision. Don't be the one shouting the loudest. Be the one nobody can decode. Keep them guessing while you're already 3 moves ahead. Let them believe you're simple, while you're quietly building something complex. Full transparency is a liability. It's a comfort you can't afford. The more people understand about you, the easier you are to predict, pressure, and control. Even your generosity, left unchecked, can be turned into a weapon against you. Protect what runs deep. Guard your emotions closely. Say less. Stay composed. Observe everything. If they want to underestimate you, let them. A wolf never bothers correcting the sheep who thinks it's harmless. It just waits. Drop this in the comments. I decide what they see. I only reveal what serves me. Lesson 2. Stop banking on loyalty. Build leverage instead. Loyalty feels reassuring right up until it collapses. It seems solid until it isn't. The error most people make is treating loyalty like a permanent bond. It's not. It's more like a contract written in disappearing ink, one that fades the second it stops being convenient. People aren't devoted to you specifically. They're devoted to their own interests. And the moment those interests shift, so does their allegiance. Count on it. You've likely witnessed this firsthand. The people who swore they'd always have your back vanish the instant loyalty becomes inconvenient. The ones you sacrificed for won't even glance back once it's their turn to pay a price. That's not treachery, that's just human nature. There's no need to mourn it. You need to adjust to it. Leverage is what loyalty evolves into once you understand the game. Loyalty runs on trust, but leverage runs on power, and power doesn't evaporate when emotions change. It endures. It holds firm. It commands respect. You don't beg people to stick around. You make leaving costly. That's how real influence operates. Machiavelli said it without softening the blow. A promise made was a necessity of that moment, and a promise broken becomes a necessity of the next. In other words, people vow whatever they need to in the moment they need you, and abandon it the second they no longer do. So stop chasing loyalty and start gathering leverage. Learn what motivates people. Learn their vulnerabilities. Understand their obsessions, insecurities, and ambitions. You don't need to use that knowledge unless you have to, but never lose track of it. That's your safeguard. That's your shield. Bonds are fragile. Strategy isn't. Genuine connection can still exist, but never without limits. Never without vigilance. Reserve real loyalty for those who've proven themselves repeatedly, and even then, keep a backup plan. People remain in relationships, careers, and alliances not purely out of devotion, but because walking away costs more than staying. That's leverage at work. It turns loyalty from an emotion into a calculation. You become harder to replace, riskier to betray, and impossible to forget. Influence doesn't need to be forceful. It needs to be steady, quiet pressure, subtle reminders that betrayal has a price, an unspoken awareness that you hold something they don't want taken away. That's how you stay protected. Drop this in the comments. Loyalty is a bonus. Leverage is guaranteed. Lesson 3. Always think 2 moves ahead. Strategy over emotion. If someone can provoke you, they can trap you. And the second you act from raw emotion, you hand over your greatest asset, control. Feelings aren't the enemy, but unmanaged, they're dangerous. This world doesn't care how you feel, it responds to how you act. And if your actions are reactive, impulsive, or driven by noise, you're not playing the game anymore. The game is playing you. People who think strategically don't behave like everyone else. They watch patterns, track reactions, and plan their exit before a problem even fully forms. They treat every word directed at them as data, every silence as a signal, every insult as insight. Because they understand this truth, whoever remains calm controls the tempo, and whoever controls the tempo controls the result. Most people live reactively. They snap back when insulted. They chase resolution after betrayal. They defend their reputation to people who don't even matter. But strategic minds don't get baited into emotional traps. They let the noise fade into the background while they operate in silence. Machiavelli warned us long ago, someone determined to act with pure virtue in every situation will inevitably suffer among people who lack that same virtue. Translation: if you play by the rules in a game where others cheat freely, you're not principled, you're vulnerable. Strategy isn't about being merciless, it's about clarity. You don't need to be brutal to succeed, but you need to be prepared for when others are. Staying 2 steps ahead means nothing catches you off guard. It means you've already mapped your exit before their sentence is finished. You've already anticipated the betrayal and made peace with it before it lands. That's the real formula for winning, not emotion, but awareness. Don't broadcast your plans. Don't advertise your progress. Let people underestimate you while you quietly surpass them. When someone deceives you, remember it. When they lash out, study the vulnerability they just revealed. When they try to bait you, recognize their lack of real control. Don't get angry when people show you exactly who they are. Use that information. Turn the truth into a tool. Study the pattern. Keep moving quietly. Say it in the comments: I don't react. I calculate. I outmaneuver. Lesson 4. Power isn't handed out, it's claimed. Demand nothing. Command everything. Power doesn't seek out patient people, it gravitates toward those who act. If you're still waiting for respect to arrive as a reward for hard work or good behavior, you've already lost the game before it started. This world isn't built on fairness, it's built on dominance. And dominance doesn't have to be loud or hostile. It can simply be presence. Certainty. The quiet confidence that makes everyone else adjust around you. When you walk into any room, nobody's going to offer you your seat. You either take it, or you disappear into the background. You either speak with conviction, or you go unheard. People are conditioned to respond to strength, not volume to authority, not emotion. The moment you wait for someone's permission, you shrink. The instant you beg for recognition, you lose your edge. Power isn't about being approved of, it's about where you stand. If someone disrespects you, and you let it slide, you've just taught them it's acceptable. If someone dismisses your value and you over-explain yourself trying to prove otherwise, you've just confirmed their assumption. Don't explain your worth, demonstrate it. Without apology, without hesitation. Machiavelli wrote that it's safer to be feared than loved, if you can't have both. That doesn't mean cruelty is the answer, it means being liked simply isn't sufficient. People respect what they're afraid of losing. And fear here isn't about intimidation, it's about being unshakable. About making it clear there's a cost to crossing you. That your presence itself commands respect, not through aggression, but through undeniable self-mastery. Don't ask for your space to be respected, claim it. Don't wait around for an invitation to the table, build your own table and make them watch. Be the kind of person who never has to announce their own value, because it's obvious in everything they do. Every action you take should reinforce that you don't need approval to move forward. Don't need validation to lead. You don't wait around for a crown, you earn one through results, resilience, and quiet strength that speaks far louder than any title ever could. Drop this in the comments. I take what's mine. I don't beg, I build. Lesson 5. Conceal your pain, never show weakness around predators. The world watches you more closely when you're hurting, and they're not leaning in to help, they're leaning in to gauge exactly how deep the wound goes. Because exposed weakness sends out a signal, and predators are always tuned in for it. Publicly, they'll offer sympathetic nods and hollow reassurances, but privately, they'll take that exact information and use it to hit you where it hurts most. That's the reality of it, and if you don't play by those rules, you'll get played instead. Your pain belongs to you. It's not currency to trade for comfort from people who only fake concern. You owe no one your vulnerability, that's a privilege, and privileges are earned, not given freely to the first person who performs concern convincingly. Reveal your wounds in the wrong company, and you've just handed them the instructions for tearing you down. So don't reveal them. Heal quietly. Process alone. Present yourself as solid steel, no matter what's breaking beneath the surface. Machiavelli never spelled this out directly, but he lived by it. Leaders can't afford to look weak, that luxury doesn't exist for them. He watched countless men lose everything, not because they actually were weak, but because they appeared that way. Perception can be fatal. Once people believe you're damaged, they treat you as a liability. Power and pity can't coexist. If people pity you, they won't fear you, and if they don't fear you, they'll walk over you while pretending they care. This isn't about shutting off your emotions entirely, it's about controlling them. You don't have to erase your humanity, just don't hand it over to people who'll exploit it. Vulnerability has real value, but only when it's shared deliberately, not when it spills out unfiltered. Share your story once you've processed it, not while it's still breaking you apart. Stay composed in public, even if you're falling apart behind closed doors. Don't broadcast your breakdowns online. Don't announce your struggles to people who haven't earned that trust. Your silence isn't a weakness, it's wisdom. It keeps you sharp. It keeps you out of reach. Drop this in the comments. My pain is power. My silence is strength. Lesson 6. Use what people want to influence them. People aren't driven by logic, they're driven by desire. You can present them with facts, truth, even consequences, and none of it matters if it doesn't align with what they actually want. The quickest route to influencing someone isn't through force, It's through understanding what truly motivates them at their core. Their deepest want becomes the leash you can guide them with. Once you identify what someone is chasing: attention, power, money, approval, validation, you can steer them without ever having to push. You don't need aggressive manipulation. Subtlety works better. Give them a small taste of what they want, just enough to hook them. Then let them understand that access to more of it runs through you. That's control. And it never looks like control. It looks like opportunity. People chase the illusion of choice, but if you're the one setting the options, they've already lost before they started. Machiavelli said people are primarily driven by one of two forces: love or fear. But today, it's evolved beyond that. It's image, ego, the craving to feel seen, needed, admired. Use that. If someone lives for recognition, dole out praise sparingly, just enough to keep them chasing your approval. If someone craves power, position them near it, but never let them fully inside it. Let them feel one step away from what they want. That's the exact sweet spot of control. You don't need threats to secure someone's loyalty. All you need is the ability to give or withhold what they want. Once they understand that, they'll start orbiting you naturally. You'll never have to chase anyone. You'll never have to demand anything. You'll guide people through offers, never orders. The most powerful influence is invisible, quiet, psychological. They'll believe it was their own idea. They'll think they're in charge. But every move they make is shaped by the invisible structure you built around their own desires. That's mastery. Use charm, attention, silence, access whatever speaks their language. Shape it, dangle it, wield it. The puppet never notices the strings. Drop this in the comments. I shape outcomes by shaping desire. Lesson 7. Never make yourself too accessible. Scarcity earns respect. The more often people see you, the less they tend to value you. That's an uncomfortable truth most people refuse to face. You keep showing up, giving more, being available for everyone, believing it'll earn you loyalty or affection. It won't. It earns you expectations. The more accessible you are, the more people assume you'll always be there. And once that assumption sets in, they stop respecting your presence. They stop registering your words. They stop noticing your value. You fade into background noise, dependable, replaceable, forgettable, and the hardest part? You train them to see you that way, not because your worth wasn't real, but because you made it too easy to access. Constant availability makes you common, and people don't hold reverence for what feels common. They only value what they have to work for what's rare, what might disappear. Machiavelli observed that people generally judge based on appearances rather than reality, because everyone can see, but few can truly perceive. It doesn't matter how genuine your intentions are, or how real your value is. If you seem too available, people will assume you matter less. That's simply how perception operates. Appearance outweighs substance, until scarcity forces people to finally notice the substance they've been taking for granted. Being endlessly useful turns you into a tool, and tools get swapped out the moment something newer comes along. So stop trying to be everything to everyone. Stop answering every single call. Stop showing up for people who wouldn't even notice if you stopped. Create some distance. Make your time something people have to earn. When you speak, let your words carry weight, not because you're loud, but because you're rare. You don't need to be cold or distant, just intentional. Show up when it truly matters, then pull back before people start assuming you'll never leave. Let your absence speak louder than your presence ever could. When they don't hear from you, they should wonder what you're building. When they don't see you, they should feel that absence. Let the mystery work in your favor. Let silence create tension. Let people rediscover how much your presence is worth by limiting how often they get it. This world isn't going to bend for you. It won't pause because you're hurting. It won't reward your honesty or safeguard your loyalty. It will test you, deceive you, lie to you, and move on like nothing happened. That's simply reality. And the sooner you let go of expecting fairness, the sooner real power starts flowing toward you. You now understand the game. You've seen what's underneath the surface, the politics, the quiet wars fought behind fake smiles and empty promises. But knowledge alone is only the first step. What you choose to do with it defines who you become. You're not here to be liked. You're here to endure, to outlast, to dominate through precision instead of noise. The people who win aren't the ones demanding justice from a world that's never granted it, they're the ones who adapt. Clarity is your advantage. Composure is your armor. Control is your weapon. Remember, this perception is power. Survival runs on strategy, not sympathy. Stay sharp. Stay untouchable. The next move belongs to you. If any of this hit home, don't just listen and move on, do something about it right now. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell so you don't miss what comes next. This channel isn't here to make you feel good, it's here to get you ready. We don't teach motivation, we teach strategy. We expose how people really operate, break down manipulation, and sharpen your mind so no one can use you again. If you're done being played, this is where your real training starts. Stay close, every video makes you stronger, sharper, and harder to break. Now let's take the next step.